Caitlin Clark just confirmed the news fans had been waiting for. Her comeback is official, and the WNBA will never be the same. After weeks of injury setbacks, endless rumors, and silence that left everyone on edge, she finally shattered the suspense. She's not only preparing to return, she's stepping back into the spotlight at a moment when her presence could decide not just her team's future, but the trajectory of the entire league. Fans are stunned, rivals are uneasy, and the whole basketball world is holding its breath to see what happens next. Her journey to this point hasn't been easy. Caitlin's season was supposed to be all about domination, about proving she wasn't just hype, about carving her name into WNBA history from the very start. Instead, it turned into a brutal battle with her own body. First came the groin injury, the kind that sidelined her at the exact moment Indiana needed her most. That absence sparked a firestorm of debates. Was she being protected, or was she being pushed too far too soon? And just when it looked like she was close to returning, disaster struck again. Early in August, reports confirmed she suffered a bone bruise in her left ankle during a solo training session. Suddenly, her timeline wasn't just delayed, it became unpredictable. Overnight, the conversation shifted from when she'd return to if she'd return at all. The timing could not have been worse. Indiana's guard depth was collapsing. Ari McDonald, Julie Coulson, and Sophie Cunningham all sidelined. The Fever's season, once expected to be Caitlin's breakout stage, was unraveling into a nightmare. Coaches stayed hopeful, but refused to circle a date on the calendar. Fans flooded social media with one desperate question: when is Caitlin coming back? But here's the truth. This wasn't just about injuries. The silence around her status fueled a frenzy. Every vague tweet, every coach's shrug, every insider leak became breaking news. Commentators debated endlessly. Some said she should sit out the year, prioritize her future. Others insisted the Fever had no chance without her. Even rival players weighed in. Sophie Cunningham hinted, "Almost ready doesn't cut it at this level." Was it criticism, concern, or a warning? Nobody knew. But it made one thing clear. Caitlin's comeback wasn't just a return, it was a gamble with the weight of the entire league resting on her shoulders. Because while she was out, the WNBA didn't feel the same. Ticket sales slowed, broadcast, crews scrambled to fill the void. The league itself began to realize just how much momentum was tied directly to her name. She wasn't just another star. She was the one anchoring attendance, driving ratings, and dominating highlight reels. Every time her name trended, the league trended. Every time she was missing, there was a void no one else could fill. And fans remembered something. The last time Caitlin Clark returned from injury, she didn't just play, she detonated. Against the New York Liberty, in a matchup that was supposed to expose Indiana, Caitlin turned the game into a showcase of defiance. 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 7 three-pointers that looked like daggers from another planet. The Liberty's undefeated streak snapped that night, and suddenly the Fever had life again. It wasn't just a win. It was a statement to the world. Caitlin Clark wasn't hype. She was a generational force. Social media erupted. Highlight reels looped for days. And even LeBron James himself jumped online, typing just 4 words. CC, effect, welcome back. That wasn't just praise. That was validation from one of the greatest to ever play the game. Which is why this return feels even bigger. The stakes are higher. The pressure heavier. Because this time, it isn't just about her comeback. It's about survival. Indiana is dangling by a thread. Their roster gutted. Their playoff hopes barely alive. The Fever have fought with grit, even stealing miracle wins in overtime thanks to fiery speeches from coach Stephanie White. But grit alone won't win championships. Everyone knows. Without Caitlin Clark, their season is hanging by a thread. And here's where the story stretches beyond Indiana. The WNBA itself has been riding Caitlin's wave. Record-breaking attendance, skyrocketing viewership, jersey sales that eclipse the competition. When she plays, games feel like events. Sponsors invest more, broadcasters push harder, rivalries heat up. Without her, the league feels less electric. Her return isn't just a boost for Indiana, it's oxygen for the WNBA itself. That's why confirmation of her comeback didn't just spark celebration, it set off a frenzy. The whispers became headlines. Coach Stephanie White hinted she was already practicing live. Teammates spoke quietly about how sharp she looked. Insiders began pointing to specific dates in late August. Suddenly, every Fever game became circled. Ticket prices spiked and resale markets exploded. ESPN anchors debated the announcement like it was a finals result. Was she ready? Was she being rushed? Did the Fever even have a choice? Rivals braced for impact. Knowing a healthy Caitlin Clark doesn't just score points, she changes the gravitational pull of the league. But here's the danger. Comebacks are never guarantees. They're gambles. And Caitlin is standing at a crossroads. If she returns at full strength, she could single-handedly drag Indiana into playoff contention, flip the league's narrative, and strengthen her case as the face of women's basketball. But if she falters, if she tweaks something, if the rust shows, the narrative could pivot instantly, from invincible prodigy to vulnerable star. And that's what makes this moment so electric. Because Caitlin Clark's return isn't just about basketball, it's about legacy. It's about whether she can take weeks of doubt, frustration, and expectation and turn it into fuel. It's about whether she can step onto that court and remind everyone, fans, rivals, sponsors, even critics, why she was never just hype, never just a headline machine, but the kind of player who changes everything. This is why fans are glued to their screens. Why every update is dissected like gospel. Because the reality is clear. When Caitlin Clark returns, the WNBA doesn't just move forward, it transforms. And this time, every game, every possession, every shot carries more weight than ever before. She confirmed her comeback, yes. But what she's really confirmed is that the biggest question in the league is about to be answered live. Can she rise again and carry the Fever into the fire? Or will this be the moment where even the brightest stars prove they're human? Either way, the story is no longer about if. It's about how. And every fan knows they can't afford to miss the answer.